So here I am, I've created my database and it's empty. The next step in this process is to run the WordPress installer that's built into the WordPress software, which connects to the database and does everything we need there. So before I do that, I just want to show really quickly in my installation over here, which I can see through my FTP client. Here's all the folder with all the software in it. Inside this folder, there is no file called wp-config.php. There's a file called wp-config-sample.php, but there is no file called wp-config.php, and that's the file that will connect WordPress to the database. So when I go to this installation, which is going to be my website, billm.sgedu.site/manual, to get to this page, to get to this site, WordPress will see that there is no file called wp-config.php in the folder, and it will give me this setup screen. So you'll notice I just went to billm.sgu.site/manual, and automatically this page comes up. And I can choose the language of WordPress that I want to install. And then it's going to tell me, okay, I need my database name, I need my database username, I need my password, I need the host, and I need the table prefix. Okay, great. I have all of that information. So let's go. You'll remember that my database name was Bill M581 underscore manual. And if you forgot, you can always come back here and check what it was. The username was actually the same. Remember, we set up the same user as we did password. Again, you could always come back here and check. And then the password was that crazy password that I generated that I put aside over here temporarily. So I can just copy this and stick that in here. This is the password for WordPress to be able to put data in the database. I won't use this password for anything else. Localhost is because the database server is right on the same server as my files, so that's nice and easy. I can just leave that as is. And here's the table prefix, WP underscore. The script in Scriptalicious was adding some extra characters in here or whatever to make it a little bit more secure, but we'll just leave it the default WP underscore. Okay, and then I can click submit, and you'll notice the first thing it does as soon as I click submit. All right, Sparky, you've made it through this part of the installation. What did that actually do? If we come back to transmit and click refresh here, takes a minute to refresh sometimes. Makes for a boring video. There we go. I now have a file called wp-config, and if I were to open this file with Visual Studio Code, shouldn't open files directly from the server like this, but I'm going to anyway. You can see my database name. My username is the same. There's the crazy password that I put in, and down here is the table prefix. So that's what that part of the installation did, is WordPress created this file for us. You could manually create this file from the sample, but why would you want to? Let the WordPress installer do it. So we can do that and let that WordPress installer just make that file for us. So that's great. Okay, so that file is there. The next part of the process is to go ahead and put some data in the database. Right now, there's still no data in the database. This database is still empty. If I click refresh up here and then click on the database, still no tables found. So the next part of the process will actually put tables into the database. So this is where we set up kind of our site information, my site. And again, this is stuff you can change in the WordPress backend, no problem. Another WordPress site, whatever you want to put in there. Your password, That's the username, sorry. Username admin. Again, this is not secure, but this is just temporary. Cheese 5555. Confirm use of weak password, sure. Your email address, ew@arc.losrios.edu. Discourage search engines. I'm not going to have this site around for long, but I don't really want search engines indexing it. And then I'm going to go ahead and click Install WordPress. And what this will do is it'll add all of those tables to the database and get the initial data in the database, and we'll be all ready to log in. So let's give it a try. Install WordPress, and boom, it's done. Over here, if I check my database now, if I click refresh, you'll see all of these tables are here. This is where this data is. It exists. If I click on WP options, it'll show that's the address for my site /manual. If I click posts, you'll see my Hello World post in a sample page inside WordPress. And I could go to log in here, admin, cheese 5555, log in, and here I am on the back end of my WordPress. I could see the front end of my site here. Everything is as normal. I could go ahead and add plugins and content and do all the normal things that I can do. And WordPress has been installed just fine. Okay, great. There we have it.